Welcome all to Scary Story Time. Just quickly before I begin, I decided to do this because of a channel named Yuri of Wind. If you're familiar, then you'd know that October is Spooky Finger Puppet Ghost Month, but sadly he's been radio silent as of recent. I know I can't fill his shoes, but I wanted to have a go at this sort of thing anyway. I got these stories from the Trollpasta wiki under the Bad Stories page. Basically, these are terribly written stories that may or may not be serious, so I'll keep my own silly remarks to a minimum. Also, I didn't cherry pick these stories, I just randomly clicked on whatever title sounded funny. And I didn't rehearse these readings, it's all my first time reaction. With that said, get comfy and try your best not to defecate in your overalls. Among Us, the pirated copy. Hello, my name is Sophia Reed. I am a big fan of video games, cartoons, and webcomics. One of which being the game Among Us. For those who don't know, it's about bean-shaped creatures called crewmates trying to escape the imposters that want to kill them without getting caught. The game was created by Inner Sloth and Puffballs United, the same guys behind the well-known Harry Stickmin series. The game blew up in 2020, and in parentheses, the game was created in 2018, but it wasn't popular until September of 2020, and had good reviews. And I, myself, am a fan of the game. However, I might have to change my mind about that due to an experience I'll never forget. Oh, and I gotta be quick, Red's coming. It was a day like any other day. I was going on my computer to look for an Among Us copy to download for the PC since I didn't have Steam yet. I went on Google Chrome and searched, in quotes, download Among Us. I clicked I'm feeling lucky, and I was redirected to a website that had a download for Among Us. I clicked the download and checked my files. In downloads, I saw something that surprised me. Rather than reading amongus.exe or au.exe, it read crewmatekill.exe. This confused me, but I played it anyway. I really should not have... It booted up as usual, the Inner Sloth logo and the black background for a while, but there was a warning box before the title screen came up. It said, "Are you sure you want to play this? If you do, Red will come for you and he will eat your soul. Click yes to play and click no to exit." I clicked yes, but I should have picked no. Hoo boy, I should have picked no. If I picked no, then I would have not released him, but I was stupid enough to pick yes. Anyway, the title card sent further questions. There were no crewmates floating through space. The music was a dark melody consisting of violins, cellos, and a dark piano note. The local button now read die and online now read he must dead. There was a faint red static and I could hear the noise. I clicked he must dead and it didn't change much except there was no private choice. I joined a game which was normal. I customized my crewmate and it was very normal. I made him green, gave him the banana hat, and I gave him the stickman pet. It was all good, and when the game started, there was no red crewmate saying, "Shh." Things got worse when the one imposter among us showed up. It didn't say crewmates, it said victim. Why would it read victim? What did the crewmates do wrong? I figured that out as I played the game. We started in the cafeteria as always. I went into the electrical to do my task, and this went good until I got killed in-game by a red crewmate with a grey mask around his face. Much to my pet's horror, he didn't kill me by stabbing me or shooting me or whatever. He pushed me down on my back and rammed his hands into my stomach and, this is all in caps, started ripping out and eating my organs and burning me when he was finished! Explanation mark. I threw up on the floor, then resumed. Like, in the game, or in real... what? After I died, I became a ghost as usual, and my pet did the normal crying reaction animation. However, unlike the normal, it was not silent. I could hear him openly sobbing, groaning, and wailing. The crying sounded so realistic that it sounded like an actual person in emotion. I could also see real tears rolling down his quote-unquote eyes. This made me at least shed a single tear for the poor pet. My body got reported, but the dead body reported / discuss sound was distorted and in a higher pitch than you'd expect. They discussed, but they automatically posted sentences like, "I'm scared, get me out of here, hail Satan," and other creepy and satanic phrases. Soon, literally all of the crewmates got ejected in a way I will never get out of my head. They got stuck in a pit, desperately trying to get out. A red crewmate came next to the pit, and the crewmates thought he was going to save them. They thought wrong though. It cut to black before we could even see them die, and until an unpleasant image appeared. It was a hellish environment filled with dead crewmates, and that included me. They were not just headless stumps, they had been killed in realistically gruesome ways. In the center, the red crewmate stood with a bloodied chainsaw that made it look like he killed someone. There were 2 torches in between the corpses and the red crewmate, and there was black text in the chiller font saying "Game Over." The music was Barak's Settlement from Yume Nikki, except slowed down and in a lower pitch. Rest of the story coming soon. Credited to Sophia193 Alt, this story has been left unfinished since October 2020. Well, diggity darn. Baby Looney Tunes -grave.mp4. Do you all remember the Baby Looney Tunes show that had DVDs selling everywhere? Well, I was skating outside, just vibing to music, and I bumped into a trash can. And in one of the items was a Baby Looney Tunes DVD. I was like, I used to watch this show. I would like to watch an episode again! ! I took the DVD to my house, period, and I put the disc in, period, and when the episode selector showed up, period, I saw an episode called grave.mp4. I was confused, no episode like this aired on TV, so I clicked it. And the episode starts. It started off with the normal intro, then it got distorted near confused. He didn't know what that meant, and then one day later and after that appeared, their grandma, just spelled wrong, was standing and crying over a grave that said R.I.P. Birdley and R.I.P. Daffy Duck. This went on for 2.5 minutes. After 2.5 minutes, their grandma became a murderer and had a gun in their hand. The babies heard grandma loading their guns, so they hid. Grandma tries to hunt all their babies. After 1 minute, grandma finds Bugs Bunny and shot him. And it cut to Bugs Bunny's dead body. A few seconds later, loud screaming is played. And grandma finds all the other babies at once and shot all of them. It cut to other babies' dead bodies with the distorted intro music, and then cuts to grandma hanging herself, and then it ends. I am so traumatized by that episode and all the characters dying, ! Explanate, you get it. Why? 3 question marks. I contacted Warner Brothers about the episode. They said, a hater broke in our corporations and made this episode. I hope they remove this episode called grave.mp4 so I can never watch it again. A Foodfight creepypasta. Have you ever heard of the movie Foodfight? It's a movie about food mascots fighting evil mascots trying to kill them. Anyway, onto the story. I on a walk when I found a copy of Foodfight. The cover had the title written in a blood-like substance. There was nothing on the spine, and the back just says, "Play me." It's just spelled really bad. So I went home and did... Sorry. Okay, I don't know what's wrong with me. Anyways. The menu had Twinkie the Kid having a bite taken out of him with blood pouring out. Carly the sun-kissed tuna turned into sushi. You can tell by the sushi being blue and his hat being next to it, in parentheses. The Vlastic stork with his wings ripped out, and Mrs. Buttersworth completely emptying and having no syrup. I was feeling uneasy. The only option was play, so I clicked it. It didn't start with an establishing shot at the duper market, like usual, but rather with Dex Dogtective and Daredevil Dan passing with a bunch of corpses. After a while, Lady X appeared in front of them and killed them. I was mortified! Exclamation mark. I ejected the movie before it could finish. I tried to destroy the movie, but before I could, I felt something holding me back. When I turned around and I saw a hyper-realistic Lady X, she hit me with a bottle of Rand X, and she told me to finish watching. I put it back in and continued watching. It showed Brand X killing iconic mascots like Chester Cheetah, Pepsi Man, and the Hamburger Helper Hand, one by one. And the credits started rolling. Lady X turned off my TV and she hit me once again, then left. I shoved the disc in the garbage disposal and tore the case in half. After that, Sorry, it's just the whole Lady X just like turn the TV off and like hitting it and then just like After that, I then went to bed and I lived happily ever after. The end. Yeah, I can safely assume that this one was a complete joke. All toasters toast toast. Do you know that feeling? The feeling you get when something happened that's called a coincidence. And I'm not talking about a small coincidental thing. The thing about coincidences is that you can look at it from 2 points of view. You can look at it as if it's just meant to be, just like two things that have a special kind of thing that makes a weird combination if you put them together. Just a common thing people see as weird if they look at it the other way. The weird thing can't be just a coincidence, it has to mean something. With that said, I'll start to tell you my story. Look at the coincidence the way you want to, but respect the way I and other people see these odd things. It all started on a normal morning. I woke up and got dressed and went downstairs. No one home. People who know me, I don't, know that I don't really like to eat breakfast. I get sick easily, so I always eat the same food in the morning. I think it's typical Dutch, so no English word for it, I guess. But this morning, there were none left, whatever that was. So I looked to see if there was any yogurt left. No yogurt. I stood in the kitchen for a while, not knowing what to eat. Suddenly, I smelled burning food. I looked around, but it certainly wasn't coming out of my house. After the smell had gone, I could finally recognize it. Burned toast. So I decided to make myself some toast, alright? I got the toaster out and put my slice of bread in it. I knew it was going to take a while, so I decided to watch TV. Since I'm really interested in ghosts and other paranormal occurrences, I decided to watch Fact or Faked on Sci-Fi, which is a show where they're going to look if paranormal/UFO footage is real or fake. This time they had a case featuring a ghost which looked like smoke. After a few minutes, I heard the bread jumping out of the toaster, so I walked back into the kitchen. As soon as my eyes focused on the room, I noticed a smoke cloud hanging in the air. I got something that felt like a mini heart attack. Still thinking about the smoke ghost, I noticed the aroma of burnt toast. That was the moment I realized that it was just my burnt toast. And yes, when I looked at the toaster, I saw a full black burned bread slice. I quickly opened every window and door on the ground floor. I made myself some more toast, which didn't burn. After finishing breakfast and closing all of the windows, I decided to go upstairs because it was getting kinda cold due to the doors and windows being opened. Upstairs all the windows were closed, so I decided to search for some heat up there. As I was turning my computer on in the study, I started to realize that it was exactly the same aroma I smelled before deciding to make toast as I smelled after burning my toast. Still surprised about the coincidence, I walked into my room. It was definitely the smell of burnt toast. And that's the end. ABC and the 6 Pidgeys. This is the story of how my life turned upside down. My name is Jonathan and I really enjoy Pokemon. Once when I was walking home from school, I noticed there was a hole in the floor, in which there was a Pokemon Ruby cartridge lying on its own. So I picked it up and took it home with me. When I got home, I stuck it in my DS Lite, and what I saw wasn't so nice. Instead of the Game Freak logo, nothing appeared and the game instantly loaded. I was in Oldale Town. The name of the character was ABC and he had all badges and 6 Pidgeys. In parentheses, not a very badass player then. They were all level 20 and hadn't evolved into anything else. As I was sat in my lounge when I was playing, I noticed that my PS3 had been turned on without me touching it. Instead of loading the game in the drive, Little Big Planet 2, hell yeah, in parentheses, it started up the internet browser and went to http://blanksforprotection.ca. I'm not Canadian, by the way. I didn't really get what this did because it didn't give me a PS3 virus as it claimed to. It just crashed and restarted the system. Anyway, back to the game. I quit the menu screen and flew to Petalburg. This is where it happened. I was forced into battle and didn't even get to go to the gym, but I was battling against a blank sprite ? Then Pidgey was possessed. Pidgey was possessed. It just repeats 4 more times. Jonathan fainted. That was creepy because the name of the trainer was ABC, not my real name. At this point, I did faint. He really did. I dreamt that the game was gone and my family were together again. All alive, well and happy. My parents split up after an argument, my cousin was dead, and my brother equals dead. In parentheses. I don't really want to say what happened after I woke up, but ask my friends because they'll know. Oh yeah, okay, sure, I'll just give them a call real quick. Now it's time for the lengthy Endslate. I'm just kidding, you take it easy and I wish you all a good night.